survivors, and welcome to the Zombicide Fans Podcast, where we discuss and review all Zombicide games. I'm Ryan, and along with hosts Schmedley and James, and special guest Jason, we're picking up right where we left off last episode to continue our discussion and review of Zombicide 2nd Edition. Thanks for listening. Here we go.
We already did the zombies, but I did have one more note about the Abomination. Nothing on his model. I just love the name Bowler Hat Abomination.
Right.
Just because that seems like something the survivors would call him. It's like, that one has a bowler hat. Yeah.
It's that Bowler Hat Abomination. Again. Again. Yeah.
There's some kind of correlation between wearing a bowler hat and becoming that.
Yeah. And I love that they did a Gatling gun miniature. You know, it's not just some token. That's cool. The wagon would have been cool if it was a 3D thing, but we usually get, you know, instead of a car, we're getting a wagon, and those were always flat. The exit sign being like an exit sign that you might see in a building is really fun. I wish that we could have got a more blinged out version of the first player token, as opposed to just like a round disc with a sheriff looking badge on it. And then my noise token, the bang boom noise token, like the sharp corners of it are already coming up.
Oh,
yeah. It's like 5 games worth, and that thing is doomed. I've got to make a better 3D printed version of it that's full color.
That's the problem with a single noise token is you're going to handle it so much more than any other noise token. So it's going to same thing happened with my Army of the Dead noise token. I mean, it's just tore up.
And they should have rounded the corners.
That sheriff's badge is screaming for a 3D token as well.
That too.
Yeah.
Or like go to the dollar store and get a sheriff badge.
Pass around a sheriff's badge, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun. But yeah, like they could have rounded the corners on that bang, on that noise token a bit so that it wouldn't, you know, fray or come apart as easily as it is, because it's pretty crazy. We probably covered the components.
Yeah.
Right. Any more? We also really talked about the art and graphic design too. Any more thoughts on the art and graphic design of the thing?
I think we covered all my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. You know what? Like I just wanted to add one more thing about the spawn tokens. It's cool how varied they are. And like how super clear the active and inactive sides are from each other. You know, they got a big, huge, stark, contrasting white X over the Abomination one, so you know that that's the inactive side. And then the silhouettes are missing from the inactive side of the corpse pile one. So that's it's a good job.
Did we might have. Did we talk about the Abomination spawn zone when we were going over mechanics?
Yeah, I mentioned that it was there's three new spawn things. You got the corpse pile, Abomination spawn, and then mobile.
Okay.
We could probably talk about this some more. Let's talk about those more.
Yeah. So when the Abomination is on the board, it's kind of like a necromancy situation. When the Abomination is on the board, there's an extra spawn zone active. I mean, that's pretty much it. But it gives you some more motivation to take him out as soon as possible, I guess.
Yeah. In some missions there's multiple. There's 2 out.
Yeah, there are 2 sometimes.
Yeah, which really amps the difficulty.
I believe you can also move that one when it doesn't start on the starting spawn zone.
You can move the Abomination ones, yes.
Yeah.
With holy water.
And there's even rules for if you have a starting spawn, mobile spawn, and Abomination spawn all in the same zone, which ones spawn first? Because it matters.
Oh, okay. Which ones what order do you spawn those in?
So it's starting spawn, mobile spawn, then Abomination spawn, because the idea is you're trying to get past the Abomination spawn. Because if you activate an Abomination after you pass it, while it becomes active, it will not spawn that turn.
Okay.
So you're trying to hope against hope that the last spawn you pull is an Abomination card, not one of the first ones.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're wishing, I'd just rather not draw an Abomination.
fat chance with this spawn deck.
Nice.
That's true. That's valid.
Nice. While we're wishing,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
We're picking the cards.
So I've been working on this fan-made expansion game thing, Trooper Side, which is just a Star Wars themed game that's a fan-made thing that's using the Zombicide based rules, but it's not a zombie game. And I appreciate even more how much like balancing the difficulty of custom scenarios or missions. It can be really hard. You're like, okay, 3 spawn zones, that's too easy. 4 spawn zones, that's too hard. What am I going to do here? And I feel like they've solved that here. Like it's a genius, like it's a cool, fun thing for us as players, but it's, I think, maybe even more fun for designer or developer, or dare may assume, because, you know, it's not up to them how difficult this mission is anymore in a way. Like it's up to the players, and that's so much more dynamic, and that's so much cooler, right? Because this is either a 3 this is like Schrodinger's cat. Like it's a 3 spawn mission, and it's a 5 spawn mission. Or it's a 3 or it's a 5. It's one or it's not. You know, it's one or the other, and so it's just a weird thing how it flip-flops. And it can be, you know, one or the other. And I really appreciate that. And I think that that's really cool. I think it's a really smart design decision to put it on the players, to like deal with the abomination, to flip those back over and deactivate those. And then he comes right back, of course. But yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it's a really cool move.
Yeah, especially where like I compared it to necromancers, but in this case, it's like a much more defined thing where like even if in the one you have showing right now, even if the abomination spawns on a corpse pile or in the spawn zone that's not next to an abomination one, it'll still activate in the same place.
Yeah. Yeah. It just makes it like allows the game to move like in a like an asymmetric, I don't know, like an asymmetric rhythm, or arrhythmically. Is that a word, right? Like arrhythmically. And then like, sometimes it's really intense because an abomination's on the board, not because of the abomination, but because of the ramifications of 1 or 2 extra spawn zones. And then sometimes it's more kind of easygoing. So like the game can kind of ebb and flow in these sort of organic and not totally mechanical way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes the abomination much more of a priority. I feel like most, especially core box abominations, have been historically very easily to avoid and ignore, but you really can't do that with this one, on account of just you almost double the amount of spawns you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think that's one thing this game does really well is you can't ignore the corpse piles. You can't ignore the abominations. So it's like you've got to pay this when this stuff activates on the board. You leave it alone to your own detriment. It's because it's going to bite you. Because if they stay on the board with the spawn deck that this game has, you're going to have so many zombies on the board. You're going to get overrun very quickly.
Yeah, that many more things to keep in the balance. Love it.
Here, while we're on the topic of components, did you want to talk about these the spawn card breakdowns that you guys did?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go to it, Jason.
So the spawn cards, and I think this is kind of a 2-tiered thing. I think it also gets into the equipment cards, but starting with the spawn cards, you know, I think this is an area where I think most people pick up on pretty quickly that, hey, if you played Zombicide before, it's like, hey, wait a minute, this is spawning a lot of zombies. There's a lot more zombies coming onto the board much quicker than what you have in other Zombicide versions.
8 runners. 8 runners.
Yeah.
8 runners.
There's a lot of 8 runners.
8 brutes.
8 brutes. And
yeah, you only get 16 of them.
Yeah, and you end up so you have way more high spawn rate. The rate is much higher for all the walkers, the brutes, the runners, and there's more abomination cards. So 25% of the spawn cards are abomination cards. So they're constantly entering the board and activating their abomination spawn zone, which then causes you to put more runners, more brutes out, and this is in this version of the game too. Once you run out of brutes and runners or any zombie for that matter, but it seems to happen more with the brutes and runners. They don't get an extra activation. The abomination does. And it creates this scenario in a lot of the games I've played where you get into orange, you're towards the end of the mission, and you start running out of runners and brutes, maybe sometimes walkers. And what ends up happening is abomination gets spawned and, oh, he gets extra activation and he'll move 3, 4, 5 spaces. He's right on top of you, like running you down, and you're at the end of this game. And just the way the spawn deck works, I think they did a really good job of kind of tuning it so that you've got a lot of zombies on the board. And if you got so many zombies out, that abomination is going to be getting extra activations, chasing you down. Thematically, it's really fun. And, not all of them, but a lot of the Zombicide games, they always have a little section in the rule book about tuning the deck. And, hey, here's the easy cards. Pull these out if the game's too easy. That's not in this rule book. There's no easy cards. They kind of start you out, running right out of the rip.
Yeah, in that regard, I think this game is probably more apt to compare to Invader than Second Edition or any of the previous versions before Invader, because Invader kind of set the template for that with basically no cards that aren't going to pull zombies outside of obviously extra activation cards. So, they have almost the exact same breakdown in numbers in Invader that they do in this game. And it's also the first game that flipped the script where now your tanks or brutes are your first in targeting priority when it comes to shooting. And the other thing too is like Invader, in this game, when you run out of miniatures, you don't get extra activations, which tends to be so dangerous. So in this one, as long as you can manage the abomination, it makes it a lot easier to deal with, because you don't have to worry about all those extra activations. You might get 16 brutes on the board, but they're not going to get that extra activation that you could not plan for to deal with you. As long as you can kill the abomination within a reasonable amount of time or stay a reasonable distance from him, he's just not as dangerous as, say, even the abomination from Invader that's creating mold as he's tearing butt across, possibly spawning even more Xenos.
Yeah, but they depower the weapons a little bit. Like, this is the first game where like suddenly brutes are like a problem. My wife kind of mentioned that we're playing, and I remember she's like, she's playing 3 characters. I'm playing 3 characters. She's like, I don't have anybody that can kill a brute. She's so frustrated. And I started thinking about, I'm like, you know what? Only one of my guys can kill a brute. And I started looking at the weapons, and the way that the weapons work out here, none of the starting weapons do 2 damage. And I think, all in, it's like only was like 17% of the, or 14% of all the equipment cards actually do 2 damage. So, you can't be splitting off, because most likely if you go through the equipment deck, everybody's not going to have a weapon equipped that's going to kill the brutes. You got to stick together, or you're going to get stuck in the zone. And I think that's why the Vade Retro becomes so important, because sometimes you got somebody that's a few spaces away that can't kill a brute, and they're in their zone and they're dead unless you can freeze them in that spot.
Yeah, they kind of mitigate that though with the survivors. At being at blue, getting +1 damage melee or +1 damage Vade Retro pretty much takes all the teeth out of both the brutes and the abomination, because now with any hand weapon that you find with Carl, you can kill brutes, give him a machete and a pickaxe, and now we don't even have to waste our dynamite on abominations. Now we're throwing them at hordes.
Yeah.
The dynamite just becomes a horde killer, not an abomination killer. So, all those damage 1 weapons, like the saber and the knife and the tomahawks all become now, brute killers.
Yeah. It makes Carl kind of essential in that way. Yeah. But I like that still you kind of have to build up to that.
And same thing with Thomas. If you've in the 5 games you can take Thomas, he can turn any weapon into a brute killer.
Yeah. Or no, wait, Carl can be a brute killer right from the get with the pan.
Correct.
Just not very effective. Yeah, that's right. But I like
the
that.
Pan makes its long-awaited return from first edition,
and makes it even better because now you can dual wield a pan, which you should have always been able to do in mine.
Right?
It's also 5+, wasn't it? 6+ in first edition?
No, it was 5+.
Yes, it was 6.
It was 5+.
It was 6.
Oh, it was 6.
I think it was 6. I think it was like the worst card in the game. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And you could draw it normally. It wasn't just a starting weapon.
My trauma made me black that out. One thing is for sure with the zombies, you were never in threat of running out of walkers.
Yeah, Jason mentioned it that like maybe sometimes you'd run out of walkers. I don't think that's ever happened.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've had a few where I've had just about all the walkers on the board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh really? Okay. I missed that.
Yeah.
It's never gotten close for me. But runners and brutes all the time. But yeah. Oh, sorry to go back on like, do you feel, James, like the burden of the blue like +1 damage, and then therefore like just being kind of almost like once you find a 2 damage weapon, making the abominations making them way too easy to take out? Does that bother you as much in this version as it did in like other older editions of Zombicide?
Probably more so because you can only ever have one abomination on the board. I mean, at some point, I mean, other than the extra spawns, the abomination just doesn't become that much of a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get, Carl a pickaxe or a machete, it just becomes, okay, well, he's going to go get 5 points, so it just kind of takes all the teeth out of it. And just like an invader, I think this game is a lot easier to deal with because the miniatures, when you run out, don't get extra activations. I mean, extra activations, at least in 90% of my Zombicide games, it's not because of something else. It's not because mold reached an objective token or, a necromancer started a 7th spawn. I mean, that's a really rare way to lose a game. But extra activations, because you run out of miniatures, plus the extra activation cards in the spawn deck, are the most dangerous part of any Zombicide game. And when you take that out, it just kind of dampens the difficulty level, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like they have definitely like traded it, right, for the abomination getting his extra activations and can sneak up on somebody and chomp them, right, because of every time you run out of runners or brutes.
It's even weaker than Invader because let's just pretend you're playing outside of the core box. You could still get the extra activations on the abomination and have extra abominations. Whereas this one, it doesn't matter how many abominations you own in your collection. You're only playing with one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not bothered by like how much the +1 damage on blue or +1 damage anywhere on the survivor skills than making abominations like nigh trivial to kill. I'm not as bothered about that idea in this one because the abominations just keep coming. The abomination singular keeps coming back and back and back and back.
Yep.
And it's more than just the abomination itself you're dealing with. It's also the added spawn zones, and then the potential of reaching 7 active spawn zones. That could be an end game or an in game condition too. So I like that there's like it's a little bit multifaceted. There's a little bit more to it than just that.
Plus the fact that there's 6 dynamite cards in the deck. It's not just 4 Molotovs. You get 6 dynamites in the deck, so it's a lot easier to find.
They're plentiful.
Yeah, so like I think I like the way they've tuned the ratio of abomination appearance to ways to deal with the abomination. Here, I like that they've amped all of that up, and that it feels like a good dance. Like you're just constantly going back and forth with this damn abomination keeps showing up. Mm-hmm. I think I feel like I do like the balance there.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of mixing it up. Like, Carl can get he can get with the 2 damage, he can become an abomination killer, but they don't make it easy to find the 2 damage weapons.
Yeah. So the survivors, we talked about our favorite classes before. Schmedley, who's your favorite survivor?
Or despite
top
that I
favorites.
said townsfolk, I think May might be my favorite survivor just because the combination of charge and hit and run is just so fun.
I often forgot that charge was just a default brawler thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still in my notes, Schmedley. Still in my notes.
Nice.
Well, this one is definitely for me also May. And if I guess if I have to pick somebody else, I mean, I really like Jeb and Hannah. I think in this game, because so many of the missions are centered around companions, that Jeb's point blank really comes into play a lot. And then of course, marksman being sniper is also a nice touch.
I'm just sorry, go back. I'm looking at looking up hit and run again. I forget how this works. And like charge, you're charging hit, because I didn't do it because I forgot when I used May the one time. I forgot about her charge because she's a brawler. She has charge by default. So yeah, walk me through like a charge and hit and run scenario with May.
Sure. So charge is you spend an action to move and do a melee attack, and hit and run is after a melee attack you can slippery out of the zone.
Assuming you kill a zombie, you have to.
If you get at least one kill.
Gotcha.
We kind of talked about this in Army of the Dead. What made Bly so great is that he started with a katana, which gave him charge, and then he also had hit and run as a blue skill. So it's kind of the same character, only in Army of the Dead you don't get the free melee action. Again, not to harp on it, but I wish they had just called charge bloodless melee, because then all of us would have known what it was without having to think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I guess thematically they thought charge would be better in this setting.
Sure. And it's cool.
I think it makes more sense for a thing that like a quarter of the cast has to have a different name like charge.
Schmedley, do you have a least favorite survivor?
I don't know. I think the whole setup is pretty good here. None of their skills really stand out to me as being like not good, which I think is a far cry from some of the boxes. When I'm in the eddies, those don't count.
Don't take my answer. Don't take my answer.
I mean, you can say your answer. I don't think I have one.
Jimmy is definitely my least favorite character. I think just +1 max range rarely ever comes up. So I think he's the most useless of the 14.
I can see that. He can at least use it in buildings.
Sure. I'm not saying it's useless. I just think it's not as useful. Jason, what's your favorite character?
The two I kind of gravitate. I got my gunslinger. I like Pablito. He's got dual expert at blue, gets him an extra combat action if he's dual wielding. So, extra actions is always great. Then for the brawlers, I like Henry a lot. +1 charge per turn's good. And although I don't think that her blue skill is great, I do like being tricksy. If I picked Henry or Pablito, usually Trixie's my second. So,
and jump can come into play a lot.
It can, especially with those balconies.
Do you have any least favorites?
No, like I'll be the first to tell anybody that the faithful are so important to have somebody, but I always let my wife or my kids or somebody else be the faithful. That's not the first class I grab when I play, but they are essential when you're playing.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself like generally you're not drawn to support classes in games like this?
I find that it burns my skin when I touch the faith. No, I'm kidding. No, I just for some reason they're just not the ones I gravitate to.
Like, ow, white hot.
Right.
That's funny. I'm glad, James, you mentioned 14. I was like, that's right. I forgot to mention it. Like, we've got 14 survivors in this box.
There's a handful.
We didn't talk about that before. Is that the most survivors in any Zombicide core game box?
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to get representation for all the classes.
Yeah.
They used the classes so much in this game. They kind of had to. This is one of the few Kickstarters where I would definitely say they didn't come out with enough survivors.
You know what?
Just the different classes, you want to have as many characters from each class as you can. And obviously, they didn't come even close to trying equaling it out, which obviously we'll get into in the next episode. But this is one where it's like more survivors, better.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I'm always the first one whining and moaning about being too many survivors and all this, but I completely agree. So we need a Western
I haven't
season
looked
2.
through the Kickstarter ones as much.
I haven't at all.
Yeah.
But I could already tell. Actually, no, that's not true. I did a while back. I just don't remember. So I kind of think of it as like, I've never seen them, but I have. I just I don't remember. But I do remember that feeling, definitely that takeaway of like, yeah, there are not enough. Like we need more because of now we're dividing them all really by
I can
the
see
4 classes.
it,
Yeah. And the 5 when you get into the gears and guns, right? Because the 5th class there.
Yeah. The engineer, is it called engineer class?
Yeah. Yeah, so my favorite, I have a couple. Well, okay, first of all, I mean, come on. We gotta love Henry because he's James. Look at this guy. When James lets his beard grow out a little longer, when he's,
take a look here.
I was like, prospector. I love it.
Yeah. No, guys, I'm not a 49ers fan. Sorry.
It's the prospector from Toy Story.
That's also what I was thinking. Yeah, I looked at him. He's like, he's that guy from Toy Story.
They call him Stinky Pete.
That's right.
Was that his name? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like usually the cultural, the like pop culture references are saved for the Kickstarter things, but I feel like there's a lot of pop culture reference in these guys.
In the default ones?
Yeah.
They might just be going over my head.
I think it's because the tropes are so generic and we've been looking at them for 6 years that, you could put that on any of these characters. Similar to the first, very first Zombicide, everybody has their ideas of who they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
But they're also still pretty generic if you think about it.
Mm.
Right. Yeah.
So Henry's your favorite, Ryan?
So Henry's my favorite because he looks like my friend James.
Aww.
Who else? I have to look through them.
I gotta figure out who I look like.
Who's your least favorite, Ryan?
I really like Thomas. He's probably my favorite. Because he's a faithful class, and the VR the Vade Retro +1 damage blue is like really great.
No kid aversion to Casey for you on this one?
I know, right? I was hoping that would come up. I also wanted to say like, oh wait, maybe Carl's my favorite. It's hard to say. I like all these favorites because as we've talked about, he's an auto include for me, to deal with his +1 damage melee to be our go-to guy to scrap with the abominations. The abomination will come out like every round. So is this Cassie or Casey? And is it a boy or a girl in your opinion?
I think it's a girl, and I think it's Casey.
Really? I was going to say Cassie.
It's definitely a girl. I don't know about the pronunciation because they always do equal 7 and 7 as far as gender goes.
Oh. Yeah.
I didn't think about it from that perspective, but yeah, I think it's Cassie. I don't see a world where you'd spell Casey like that. I think Casey is 1 S, no matter what's at the beginning.
Yeah, I was leaning if it's a girl, Cassie, and if it's a boy, Casey. But yeah, you know what? I didn't have icky feelings about there being a kid in this one. Something about the theme, the setting was like, no, this is cool. And like this kid doesn't have shoes on either. It's just like a street urchin just running around. Part of the adventure.
You
part
expect
of the story.
everybody to have guns in the Old West. It's all good.
Right.
Yeah. But this one is like holding a bag full of dynamite and like that sword. What's that sword called? Saber. Yeah. So yeah, she's cool. She's cool in my book. I don't feel weird about the kid here. For some reason. My least favorite is Pablito. I wanted to like him, because of like the Mexican vibe, because he was different in that way from everybody else. But the dual expert, like I don't know, I'm too lazy to want to like have to deal with one more thing of having to make sure that he can dual wield the right weapons to make him that much more effective. But for those that aren't lazy like me, like that's great. I love that you can make you get more fun out of him that way.
Yeah, I love Pablito. He's definitely
Yeah.
I
he
like
might be
Pablito,
my
yeah.
favorite gunslinger. He's really fun.
Yeah, he's my gunslinger. I like him.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, I'd rather just go with Meg or Turner or Molly. Like they have free things you don't have to work extra for. Like I don't have to bother with getting a dual weapon. They just reroll or +1 die pistol all the time. That's what I
Yeah,
like
for
to
me, it's obvious Turner is important for me as a gunslinger. I always need the rerolls, so
Yeah.
he's definitely up there.
One thing I wanted to double check, like Meg is +1 free reload. That's a reload for anything, including fanning, right?
Right, but unlike reload, it's just once. It's not like every time.
Yeah.
So don't get it confused with modern, the
Yeah.
free reload skill where you just always get the free reload.
Right. Yeah. And Hannah's marksman is really, really strong too. I like that. At least.
And she's so strong in orange as well, because she gets the +1 damage rifle.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that makes her a real important character. And I don't mind +1 damage at orange.
Right.
That's all well and good.
Yeah.
Got to
Yeah.
earn it, right, James?
Right.
That's right.
Well, and by the time you're orange, hordes are way more dangerous than
Yeah.
abominations, and so I don't have a problem with that.
I like that Thomas too. He's got that giant cross as far as like the miniature goes. That's pretty
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Anything else on survivors? Let's move on to equipment.
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
So, equipment decks. Anything in general, or do we want to just talk about like what some of our favorite things are here?
I found overall the equipment deck to be kind of boring. This might be because of my feelings about the theme, and I'm sure there's a very specific category of gun enthusiasts that is thrilled to have 20 different kinds of revolvers,
Mhm.
but I am not.
Yeah, you're definitely not gonna have some of that variety, you know, like chainsaws and stuff like that. So it's the West, right? It is what it is. They did do a good job of
It's a lot of
selecting.
sense. I understand completely. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to struggle with this one with like reality versus game mechanics, but you know when basically you have the exact same pistols but they have different ranges, you know that just at first
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense to me. But then I gotta think in my head, well, hang on, this is a D6 based game, very simplistic. How can we differentiate these pistols one from the other? And I do think they could have done a little bit more by saying, like, instead of increasing range, maybe I don't know, a couple more shots but less to hit, you know, kind of mechanic. But you know, having one pistol that can, you know, shoot 2 zones and one that can only shoot 1, just it doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's hard to get around. But I just gotta keep telling myself, you know, it's a board game. You know, get
Mhm.
over it and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, would it have been interesting if there was some sort of an all out or an ammo dice concept here, or do you think that would just be too fiddly or too much to worry about?
You already have to do so much reloading with this one, which again, it fits more with the theme. Like if you fan and some of the other equipment that, you know, it might have been too much.
Yeah, the other thing too, you got to really pay attention to with this equipment deck that's a little bit not intuitive to me is you really got to look at the symbols as to what they count as, rifle, you know, pistol or melee weapon. Because you know, when I first grab a sawed off, I'm thinking, oh, this must count as a pistol, but it doesn't. You know, it counts as a rifle. So you know, you just got to pay attention to things like that. That just because you think it's supposed to be some way, you know, pay attention to the card and what it
Mhm.
is and what it can do.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't find this deck to be boring. I thought it was cool, and I like the names of the different things. Like I don't know. I've seen, I guess, enough westerns. I've never been like a big western enthusiast or gun enthusiast, but like a Colt and a Winchester and a Remington and a Schofield. Like these things just evoke some sort of emotion for me, or like I'm not like emotional about it, but just like it evokes some sort of joy of something recessed way back in my memory from growing up with enough of this stuff to for it to kind of spark familiarity. So I enjoy it in that way. And like, I'm looking at the deck right, I'm like flipping through the cards and like, there are a lot of cards in this deck. Like this is a big deck of cards. Like I almost think that they wouldn't have needed this many cards, but,
yeah, I'm looking through and there actually are more melee weapons than I thought there were. I must just always get unlucky with my polls.
Well, I think like at least 24 of the cards aren't weapons. I mean, unless you count the dynamite as a weapon. I mean, 24 of the cards aren't guns or, things to bash people with. So there's, I guess that's another problem that I run into with the deck, because there's so many dynamite, water, and holy water, is it's just so easy to find them. Because there's so many of them. Like you don't have to, especially if you've got a townsfolk or two, in the group, it just doesn't take long to get through the deck to find what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that, but I could see how that might be a little bit of a drag if it's like it's just too easy to get what you need. Like I like the convenience of it, but
yeah, I mean, if you've got a faithful in your group or even a companion with faithful, I mean, there's 12 cards in there that turn off corpse piles. Basically renders corpse piles worthless.
yeah, it's like it's a lot less of a of a tension of like, oh my gosh, like a nail biter of like, when will we find that clutch item thing that we need to be able to deal with this thing coming at us that you would experience in the older games and the older Zombicide Modern ones and the older Zombicide Fantasy games. Here it's just like, it's just a matter of being efficient with your actions and just making sure you're putting enough time and actions into getting the stuff and you'll just get it. It won't take that much effort, but you just got to do it. Yeah.
Definitely though, your favorites are obviously your Schofield, your Winchester rifle, whether or not you're a 2 dice at a 4+ guy or a 1 dice at a 3+ guy, machete and pickaxe, are the go-to weapons there.
Yeah. I think my favorite weapon item might be the knife.
Yeah.
As stupid as it sounds, because it just says add +1 die to another equipped melee weapon. I just love that.
That is awesome, yeah.
Especially if you got the pickaxe. I mean, it gets you, you start really swinging that at crowds of brutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
especially with your 3 hands.
And I know this isn't a brute or an abomination killer, but May with a saber is really cool because you're charging in and you can use her to weed out those runners, and on 2 dice at a 3+, and then she gets her hit and run. It's a lot easier to guarantee you're going to get that hit and run when you're rolling on a 3+ as opposed to a 4+.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a saber is really good too.
You add a knife to that and even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. In business. The water and the holy water thing throws me because it's like one of them gives 3 AP and the other one gives 5 AP. I get why, because
the water gives 3 AP because it's been used like a resource, like food in the other ones. But if a faithful uses water as holy water, it's good for 5 if they're using it for corpse pile or.
Yeah, I really appreciate.
It is kind of weird.
I really appreciate the dynamite can be used from your backpack. You don't have to put it in your hand.
That's nice. Cool. Yeah. I like that too.
Because like I kind of liked, I loved and hated the fact that in Army of the Dead you had explosives, and you'd have to put them in your hand and then do like it was just so many actions to get the thing done. But it made sense, and it for kind of thematic and for game balance purposes for having such a powerful.
I liked that you had to like kind of set a trap.
The other thing that's really cool about the dynamite is, unlike I think just about any weapon in any version of Zombicide, the noise token goes to where you explode it, not where you're exploding it from.
Yeah, that's satisfying.
Where you're throwing it from. That's a really cool rule.
I do love how much ammo there is.
Who doesn't like a reroll?
Right?
There's plenty.
And I do like Well, no, I was gonna say like distinctly, but it's not distinct at all. Actually, between rifles and pistols. I was gonna say of like the range, like the pistols are shorter range and the rifles are long range, but that's not always the case. It is a little bit blurred on some of them. But I like that, the whole gunslinger fanning thing is only for pistols. Makes sense thematically, and it helps split them up as even further as class of weapon in a satisfying way. And the whole body slot or like favorite slot thing on the survivor ID cards. I like that too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a better implementation of it than Black Plague or Green Horde, because in those games it's very specific to one or two specific item equipment cards, whereas this is more about a class of equipment, which I think is a lot better.
Yeah. And the starting equipment cards, is this the first time that we have like we don't deal them out randomly and we have to put them on, we have to give them their favorite type of weapon?
Yes and no. I mean, you could say that like Invader with Dark Side had that because everybody kind of had the same team weapons.
Right.
But this one is a little bit more thought out and specific about who's getting what.
Yeah.
I
like
think one of the rule books technically just said distribute the cards. It didn't specify randomly, but most people probably did anyway.
Yeah, and then like Army of the Dead,
right.
you each character would have two different starting scenarios that the player could say, okay, I want to start with this or start with this.
But that's also after this game.
Yeah.
And you're right, Schmedley. When it comes to Black Plague and Green Horde, those are not randomly distributed. Those are assigned. So you obviously give your elf the bow and your magician the telekinetic blast or whatever. So you're right. That wasn't random.
So the bounty weapons, we've already talked about these. At first, I was like, oh man, I don't want to sit here and have to keep reading the back of that bounty weapon card to see if I can meet the goals of it, like on top of everything else. It's too much to deal with. And like after I got over the hump of like learning the rules and getting used to the tempo of things in the game, I loved it. I was like, oh, this is so fun. What's the next bounty weapon that I can earn based off of what it says on the back of how I can earn that bounty weapon? I thought that was.
Actually,
I came around to
you know what I just noticed? The little scribbles, the little drawings of the weapons in the background are different between the decks. I thought they were the same.
Oh, between the individual cards on the
they're bounty weapons in the bounty deck, and they're regular weapons in the regular deck. And there's a pan in the background of the starter deck too. Just a neat little detail.
Let me see.
Yeah, one of the things, Ryan, I really like about the bounty weapons, besides that whole extra having to earn the bounty weapon, is the missions where you have to get 6 bounty weapons, but you only get 3 of them via objectives. So then it gives you that whole decision of, okay, what's next on the deck? What do I have to do? Okay, this one is easy to do, so nobody take an objective until we get this one, or one that's almost impossible to do, and you're like, okay, take an objective, and then we'll try and earn the next one. I think that's a real fun way to integrate it in a mission objective. I think that's really cool.
Yes.
Which ones do you think are almost impossible to do? Because I found all of them to be pretty reasonable. Okay,
so let's just say you're in the first couple of turns, you're playing that first mission, and the one that's at top is like kill so many zombies from a balcony. Okay, who's doing that with a starting rifle?
No, that's fair.
That's really hard to do. Or, kill an abomination with your last action, or gain 10 AP with a dynamite or something like that. Like early in the game, those are very difficult to do.
Yep.
I think pretty much all of them. I guess kill through zombies are more with a rifle in a single turn is kind of early gameable.
With your one shot at a 5+ each time, I mean, it's tough.
I mean, early game, you just got to yellow. Maybe you got like a slightly better gun.
Plenty of shells or something.
Yeah. Not like turn 1, but...
Yeah, I agree with James. Early in the games, it's not easy to scoop them up off of meeting the criteria and the bounty weapons out of the gate.
I do like the alternative just because it means like if your game runs for a long time, you just there can still be more good weapons that get put into circulation.
Yeah, I agree too. Like I was like, oh boy, I don't want to have to deal with this getting on a balcony and for this Mauser. So yeah, let's just find the objective token first, and we'll see what else we get. You know, based on the circumstances. That's really cool, and I'm excited to mix in more bounty weapons from the extra materials for the next time. That'll be cool. There aren't a ton more, are there? Like just a few.
Bounty weapons in the Dead West box. I don't think there's an extra equipment one. There's Deesba's bow, but I don't think there's any more bounty weapons in the Dead West box.
Oh.
Yeah, and
there's
all
no-
the bounty weapons in the campaign box are kind of the exact
Steam.
same thing. It's,
Oh,
And there's Steam.
yeah.
So you get the weird ones. You have a chainsaw there.
gotcha. Okay. Well, not that much to look forward to, but a little bit.
It's not like second edition where they came out with a bunch of extra epic weapons.
Right.
Lame.
I know we don't have expansions to look forward to at least for now, but I really do hope that they continue to support this theme and come out with more products for it.
So this has nothing to do with anything, and I'm still going to bring it up anyway. But if you were going to come out with a pirate Zombicide, do you think it should be fantasy or do you think it should be undead or alive rules? Sorry, I had to say.
I'd tweak some of the classes. Yeah, I'd tweak some of the classes. I'd have like a swashbuckler instead of like the brawler.
Yeah,
But
that's great.
I can see undead or alive more.
Jason?
I would agree with that. Undead or alive.
All right, Ryan, you got to say fantasy just to be contrarian.
I gotta say a mix between both. You need to have like some mystical stuff going on, so some sort of necromancer shenanigans.
There's some mystical stuff going on in undead or alive.
Oh yeah,
What do you
that's
think
right.
Vaid Retro is?
There you go. There you go.
Do you think that's just a thing priests can do?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just ordinary priest stuff, right? I haven't been to church, so I figured they had Vaid retros there, right? That you could use. That's how that works. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Like I didn't get much sleep last night because I was not feeling well. I ate something bad, so my brain I'm not great with like improving anything right now. But that's the best I could give you. It's like, yeah, maybe how about a little bit of both? A little bit of both.
Okay. Well, do we want to talk about the setup?
Yeah, let's talk about.
Is there anything new setup wise to talk about?
Schmedley, you must love this new setup.
There's no doors.
There you go. There's no doors.
I think overall it's pretty identical to second edition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything super new to talk about. There's more spawn zones to put around, but the corpse piles you don't have to put like the inactive one down before you walk in.
Yeah, exactly. They're like the objective, crates or whatever. It's like they just are on the board and you deal with them as you deal with them.
I guess it's even a little more simplified because after the tiles are down, you don't even have to put down epic weapon crates.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And there's no deciding who gets what weapons. Whatever character it tells
Right.
you what starting weapons you get.
I really love how they've combined like objective tokens with epic, like the classic like epic weapon crates and the epic weapons themselves. Like they just combined all that. They just like totally streamlined it all,
Mhm.
I think second edition is the only one where they're like super separate. Because
Okay.
even in like Invader, I guess in Fantasy they were pretty separate, but that was before they even had the idea.
Yeah.
In Invader, they're combined.
Yeah, again, I think this game has a lot more in comparison with Invader than any previous version because most of the time when you're getting bounty weapons here, it's because you're getting an objective. Same thing with the prototype weapons in Invader. Most of the time when you're getting a prototype weapon, it's because you're picking up an objective.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's why it's good. It's because it's like Invader.
Let you go.
It also shares the kind of not as bad as Invader, I don't think, but I do think the bounty weapons are a little underwhelming compared to like the sheer power difference between them in second edition.
Which I think fits thematically.
Yeah, I mean it's a slightly nicer revolver. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, setup is great in this game. It's a breeze. Very breezy.
Jason, how do you think it compares to other editions as far as setup?
I mean, it clearly benefits from their streamlining from, the various core boxes. It's a really easy setup. I mean, it's streamlined as it gets.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Should we talk about the missions?
Let's do it.
All right. We have got a book club mission for us and everyone following along at home. Mission 8, Brothers Keepers. That's the right one. I played the right one this time, right?
Yay!
All right. Okay. Schmedley, how was your Mission 8, Brothers Keepers? Oh wait, we gotta read the story intro thing deal.
So Jason needs to read that for us, right?
Jason, would you like to read it?
Yeah, Mission 8, Brothers Keeper. Not quite sure what you'd call a churchgoer, but our faithful friends sure got a talent for keeping the zombies from getting up again. After we sort out the walking ones, the ones that Right Touch said about the holy work, only today ain't gonna go as planned. We got another horde coming in, and it's a doozy. Smart move be putting some miles between us. Wish we could talk our friends into running, but they ain't ready to budge. Well, fair enough. Guess it's time for the flock to shepherd them. So that's the mission. I don't know if I massacred that with my accent, but
that's an amazing Western accent.
Yeah. No community theater for me, but
all good.
You did just fine.
Yeah. So the objectives in this is prospecting for treasure. There's 3 hidden bounty weapons among the 5 that need to be taken. The wagon has to be moved off the railroad. The faithful have to be rallied. There's 2 faithful on the board. And then if that's not enough, once all that's done, you can't miss the train. All survivors got to get on the train, which is moving through the board as it exits with no zombies on it.
I love that you added if that's not enough, because that was definitely the feeling I had.
Yeah, it's like this, and don't forget to catch the train.
Right. And it is hard at 35 minutes. 35 minutes?
No.
35 minutes.
35 minutes.
Okay, I'd like to take this opportunity right now to say that I do think that this is the best core box book to rate the difficulties of the mission, but they're still so far off on the time.
I think it's way worse on the minutes.
Yeah.
They made like one comment about it, talking about deceased. So like, here's hoping they figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the long, short. That's the way to go.
Like 35 minutes. I just like, I can't even. It's so funny.
I'm trying to. Is that somehow like solo times? I feel like even that it's certainly faster solo, but
oh my gosh, it's crazy. All right, yeah, Schmedley, tell us how did your mission go?
So I ran it twice because I ran it shortly after we recorded our last episode, and then completely forgot what happened because that was it was a while ago.
Yeah, we rescheduled this a couple times.
But so the second time, it was just me and my girlfriend. Our normal group wasn't there, so we each played 3. I have them right here. I was Molly, Jimmy, and May, and she was Jeb, Pablito, and Trixie. And we ended up getting pretty lucky. I think it was the green one, might have been the blue one, was the last objective that we got. So we didn't really have to worry about the train that much. One of my guys, May, spent her first few turns moving the wagon and then ended up being right next to the mine. So she hopped in there. I think somebody joined her with dynamite to clear it out. We got the 2 guys. We got all the stuff. I went shockingly well. Towards the end, we did have all of our runners and all of our brutes on the board, but we boarded the train and left them behind before they could get on. On our earlier one, I do remember the first time we played it, we did lose twice. Once because an abomination spawned and got a bunch of activations in the graveyard. And then the other one, there was some kind of pileup of zombies. I think the train was already on the board the second time we lost. So I don't know. I don't even think we had all the objectives, so we probably wouldn't have finished anyway. What about you, James?
Yeah, so for me, I'm not going to give my normal turn-by-turn breakdown or all the nitty-gritty details. What I'd like to do is kind of go over this a little bit more generally in different ways that we played this mission. The first time we played this mission, we played it straight out of the box, no extra characters, no extra zombies or abominations, right out of the core box. And we struggled with it a couple of times, running into situations where we would get just pounced upon by the zombies. And what a lot of times would happen is whoever was stuck out there trying to move the wagon off the trainways might get stuck out there by himself while the rest of the people were inside trying to get the faithful and search and get geared up. But once we kind of got our tactics down, we were able to win it, obviously a little bit more easily. But then the next time I went through it with another group, we played it, and in that way we opened ourselves up to the special guest artist boxes, and that was fun, just having some different characters to play with. Nobody there was too overpowered, so it was still a challenging mission, which we all appreciated. And then the last couple of times we played it, we incorporated in the extra abominations and the long dead walkers. And when we did that, what we found happened was the long dead walkers are so few of them would have your abominations coming out quicker than you thought. And that actually became more dangerous than just your standard zombies being out there, because I think there's only 15 in the box and they come out like in groups of 6. So, that math doesn't work out real quick. But the last time we played it was the most challenging because we played with the riders, and the riders, when they get off their horses become companions, which means they are vulnerable. And when they die, you lose the game. So you have to be really careful what doors you leave your horses in front of, because horses obviously can't go into buildings. And if you leave your horse in the wrong zone, it's going to be close enough to a spawn zone that something's going to come out and kill your horse, or an abomination is going to go tearing across the board and kill your horse. And so I found that version of the mission the most difficult to think about and get around tactically. Was, okay, what am I doing with my horses? Who has to stay outside to deal with this while everyone else goes to do the mission? So I found this mission to be, as advertised, hard. It was not as advertised at 35 minutes, but it was advertised as hard. And I really like that. And I think one of the things that makes the mission hard is the 2 abomination spawn points. When you go from 3 to 5, or more likely 3 to 6, because there's a corpse pile active. 6 spawn zones. That's going to get you no matter what version of Zombicide you play. Mm-hmm. Jason?
So in total, I probably played this mission about 6 times. Early, twice. Once, I was going to do the episode, and even the first time I played it, lost again, even though I kind of played it a few times and kind of figured out, kind of the right sequence. So I played this with my wife. I played 3 characters, Pablito, Carl, and Trixie, and she took Hannah, Henry, and Turner. Took us 11 rounds to win it, in our game that we won it. Our basic strategy was kind of stick together, utilize the town folks, help search. I wish, James, I had known. I played this harder than I should. Rule that I missed was the on how the corpse piles spawn, thinking that they activate within the building when you come in, versus the tile. So, we were very worried about walking the building up. If an abomination spawn, we're going to have 7 active. So, so I wish I would have known that when I played it. But either way, we did figure it out. It was interesting, though, just as you were talking about the spawn pile. So just to give you an example, we spawned an abomination in the second phase. So at the end of the second zombie phase, there was 18 zombies on the board, including an abomination. It was like, everybody's in blue. We are still in the building. We haven't even moved the wagon. I'm like, oh my God, like the pressure was amped up quite a bit. We did get lucky in collecting the objectives. If you end up having to go into the mine to get your last objective, that's with all those spawn zones at that end of the board, it can definitely be a problem. But we were able to get the wagon moved, get the objectives, get on the train. But just as Schmedley was saying, we had all the runners are on the board, all the brutes are on the board, zombies getting extra activation. Literally the abomination chasing us down the railroad track is we're on the last tile. He had 4 activations. Luckily, he didn't get a 5th because he would have been on the train with us. But we did win. It was great. Mm-hmm. It was a good mission. It was fun.
Nice. Yeah, so I played this game for the first time playing this mission, which is really just getting thrown in the deep end kind of a thing.
Wow.
Learning all the rules, learning like the tempo and the strategy of this particular game. And I love that period of a new Zombicide game or big box expansion, where you're just like, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know what's in any deck at all. So like, I didn't know that there was no cards, negative cards in the equipment decks. I didn't know the breakdown at all of the spawn zombie deck. I had no idea what I was coming up against. And I was like, okay, like what should be the strategy here? Realizing like, oh, there's the corpse piles. I gotta, there's the faithfuls you got to get at on the buildings on either side of the north and south side. So I was like, let me just split the party. Let me just come in here all cocky and be like, I could do this, especially like after our second edition podcast that I was like, oh God, this game is so easy. I'm getting so good at Zombicide now. I could just stomp anything. So I come in here with this attitude. And that's when I realized that I had lost way before I thought I had, because I stumbled upon the rules like after about round 3 of you can lose the game by having 7 active spawn zones, and realized that probably happened at the end of the very first round because I went into both buildings and opened up those 2 corpse pile spawns, and an abomination came out very like right away, having 7 active spawn zones. So I lost there. But even before that, I had lost because I had spread myself too thin. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just charging in head first and discovering that this game is, in fact, a lot harder than other editions.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, especially, you haven't given yourself the time or the grace to like figure it out. You're just like going for it. So, it's always like, does this game want me to keep everyone together, or does this game want me to split up? Or does this mission want me to keep everybody together or split them up? Because that always varies. It's interesting. Like I found that this whole game, but especially this mission, is like a lot more strategic and tactical than I'm used to in the Zombicide games. Did you guys find that as well in this game, in this version, or just at least this mission?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. I mean, even like, remembering like, hey, you can move this, you can move a spawn zone. Like, I think sometimes you get so used to not having that option, but sometimes even moving a spawn zone can give you a huge advantage. So just being aware of all the mechanics that you can do, can really change the gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot to consider here. There's like, okay, how am I using my classes? How am I getting used to this equipment deck? How am I or not, like, am I using or ignoring balconies? Am I using or ignoring being able to move those mobile spawn zones like you just talked about? And sort of getting used to like playing with and getting used to those things and finding the balance of when and where and how to like to pull those levers, right? And the bounty weapons, and like when do you do that? So there's a lot more to this game that I find really fun. And as a solo player, easier maybe. I assume because it's like just the one mind controlling everything. However, it can be kind of overwhelming, especially at first. So then I went back in and I tried it again a second time, and I don't know how it went, but I just know that I lost. Like I remember that I lost. I was like, oh, this is really hard, and and I do that thing where I love in a new setting where I'm like, how are you supposed to win this thing? Because I kind of experience that like every time my first time playing each new Zombicide game. And I was like, let me go back and do easy. Let's do an easy mission. So I went back and I did mission 1. And then I went and I did like mission 4, I think. Actually, yeah, I could just dive into that too. And then I came back and I did this mission. So let me just talk about those. And then we can, now we're just starting to talk about additional missions that we've played. So like M1, the bandwagon, is a little 4-tile mission where you've got to get 1 bounty weapon per survivor and exit with all survivors on the train. So before, I was talking about like, I don't want to deal with this bounty weapon deck thing, but this mission was great because it taught me to learn to love the bounty weapon deck, right? Because you got to get 1 for each survivor that you have. You have 6 survivors, but you only have 4, because there's 4 tiles. Yeah, you only have 4 objective tokens that can get you the first 4, and you have to earn the other 2. So I really liked that. That got me into that, and I was able to win this mission. I think I probably lost it the first time and then won it the second time. I was like, okay, cool, I'm getting this. And this mission is marked as easy at 25 minutes. Was just so funny. So funny. These guys are so funny. And then mission 4, I thought was a really cool layout. It felt very like cinematic, this very long, like 2x4 tile layout, which is not super common.
I do like a 2x4 mission.
Yeah. And it had the 4 townsfolk perched up on some balconies. So this mission is getting used to balconies. And while it wasn't like the like marquee feature of this game or this mission, like I did discover, because I had to go up there, that like there are certain times that it comes in really clutch or really handy. And they're really cool to use like once or twice a game, maybe. And when you do, it feels really cool. It feels really, really fun and satisfying. And this one also got me used to having to move the spawn zones with the holy water. So that was cool. And then, I was armed with that, and then much, much more capable feeling, at least, to come back to mission 8, Brothers Keepers, and to try and take that on. So the strategy that I used that I was feeling a lot better about here was, instead of splitting the party, I brought most of the party to the north building to get that first faithful, and to make sure I could secure some holy water to shut down that corpse pile spawn before it spawned anything. And that worked out. And then I started to split the group up. So I kept some people there that could get those objective tokens. I sent 1 person to the mine train, or mine, what is it called? The mine shaft?
Mine shaft.
Yeah.
Yep.
I sent 1 person over there, and of course that's where the abominations showed up. So she had to double back and get out of there, but she still survived. And then I had 1 person that was responsible for the wagon that had to spend 2 whole rounds just moving the wagon. Which as a solo player is much easier to do than it would be as like if you were playing, only 1 person had that character. That'd be a bummer. And then I sent someone who had holy water over to the mobile spawn zone, like way over to the right, so that I can get that moved over to the first spawn zone spot, which I felt like made this mission a lot more palatable. So they weren't coming at me from all directions. I felt like that was super helpful as a strategy. And then worked my way to the south building to get that second faithful, and to I kind of coordinate it so I can like rip off the objective tokens so that I can get the blue and green side at the same time, and time that train coming in. The train came in, I jumped on with just about all the survivors, and then 8 runners, 8 runners, 8 runners, abomination,
Yeah.
and the abomination walked right onto the train and killed somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came out of the mine shaft and he just right from the back of the train just walked right up to it because of so many runner cards all in a row and abomination cards all in a row. And I was like, you know what, this is fine. I felt like really satisfied that I had a good strategy and I executed it well. And there's nothing I could have done about that at the end with the abomination moving so much based on all those extra activations, because all the runners had come out and then miraculously so many more runner cards all happened to come out right after that. So yeah, but it was fun. It was great fun. And definitely still very hard and really, satisfying.
Yeah, I think the mission doesn't lie. It says it's hard, and I think that it is hard.
Yeah. It does lie. It's not 35 minutes. It's 350 minutes, maybe. closer to that anyway. What other missions did you guys get in? Any more for you, Schmedley?
I mean, I have played others. I didn't, not in preparation of this.
Okay.
I was too busy replaying the book club mission.
Fair
Like
enough.
I said, we played it 3 times total. So
Yeah. So I did my normal thing of, went through all 10 missions with one group, went through all 10 missions again with another group, then went back again, played them all with extra
the
stuff.
normal stuff. Yeah.
Normal stuff.
Yeah, normal, totally normal.
Yeah. But what I would like to call out is an opportunity I had to teach a brand new group of people that I'd never met before. Back at the 1st of August, I went to a gaming convention in Arlington called Geek Game Days, and there were some people there. I brought this game, and there were some people there that were interested in playing. So I set it up, and we got to play the first mission through. And it was really funny because one of the guys sat down. He's like, "I played Zombicide before, and I've never won a game on Zombicide." I'm like, "Okay, that's odd, but okay." So we play, and of course, we lose. And the guy's like, "Yep," and I'm like, "Oh, come on, give it another try." So we play it again, and we win it, and he was so happy. It was just so fun, watching him win a game of Zombicide. I was just like, "Yeah, this is awesome. This is great." Everyone had a good time, and I had a really good time teaching it to him. But it did kind of bring up, because I haven't played with new groups and teaching new people Zombicide in a long time. That it kind of brings back one of the things that does make any version of Zombicide hard is playing with people that don't know how to play the game. And it's not because they don't understand the rules. They're just not, hip to all the tactics and strategies and that kind of thing. And when I teach people games, I don't like to be an alpha player. I don't like to tell them what to do. I like to tell them the rules, and then they make their own decisions. And that's part of what makes this entire game, in my opinion, hard. Is the first time I went through it, all the missions were hard. Even the easy missions were hard because, as you said, Ron, I was learning the equipment deck. I was learning the new strategies. I was learning the corpse piling and how all the different spawn points work. And as I went through it my second time, the game's become a lot easier, to the point where I'm like, okay, we're not playing with Carl. We're not playing with Thomas because it's just too easy when we include those. So we would just exclude those characters to make the game more challenging. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is because there's so many new wrinkles in this game, like a lot of Zombicides, it seems hard at first. But as you play and learn, it gets a lot easier. And I think once you learn this game, I really do think these missions are properly balanced. The easy missions are easy, medium missions are medium, hard missions are hard, and the very hard missions are very hard, even if you know how to play them. And that's what I like about this game, is the missions to me seem more thought out, as opposed to how to balance them and make them difficult, as opposed to just the system. Like the Undead or Alive system is not harder than any other version of Zombicide. I think these missions are more challenging than most of the other missions.
I can see that. I can't think of anything in like the mechanics that are intrinsically difficult, so that adds up.
I
would agree with that as well.
I think that there is still something to be said about the mechanics being intrinsically difficult, in that the abomination, like how much it can surge, right? From having the abomination comes out, then you have one or two more spawn zones that open up. And then, combine that, this isn't mechanics, but combine that with like what they've put on these cards, like the first
Do
time
you
that I'm
do you
like,
consider the details of the spawn deck to be part of the system, like the exact numbers? Because I wasn't when I said mechanics.
that's, yeah, I kind of do. Like, it's not the mechanics, but it's
Okay.
part of the system.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that's right or wrong, but like, yeah, I mean, it's part of the system. And, like 8 runners. It
It does happen, yeah.
It's
I feel that.
insane. Because it would be, if memory serves, like it's kind of really rare to have that many runners in like second edition, say for example. But here it's like it is commonplace. Like all 8 of the runner cards have 8 runners on yellow. Is it yellow or is it orange? Let's see. Orange. It's on orange. But yeah. It's pretty easy to hit orange in this game too. But yeah, 4 and 8. Yeah, 4's on.
Or to get 4 brutes and blue. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other one. Like, I've been saying runners a lot, but it kind of goes the same for runners and brutes. There's just so many runners and brutes that are coming out. Yeah. So I think it's both. There's definitely system things, foundationally, and then the missions, like they're asking you a lot of you in these missions, right? And I think is that what you were saying, James, too? Like the missions are, there's a lot of steps.
I think so. If you notice, there's a pretty clear pattern as the missions gets harder. There's 2 things that they do to make them more difficult. One, they add a second abomination spawn zone, and then 2, they start restricting the classes that you can take. So the missions where you can't take a faithful character, that you have to pick them up as a companion, is a clear sign to me that they realize how powerful the faithful characters are. And then mission 9 might be the most difficult of all because you can't have a faithful or a brawler, meaning you can't have either one of your 2 characters that get +1 damage at blue. So that takes away that crutch that you can have in that mission. So while I think mission 10 is very hard as well, mission 9 might be harder. I don't know that for a fact, but
yeah, I would agree. 9 was difficult, especially as you're trying to load those objectives and just the restrictions with the classes.
And there's so many companions that you have to go save. You cannot just sit back and do nothing. You've got to go get them. If you have a rough early spawn point with brutes or an abomination at that where the cemetery is, you're going to be in for a tough time because you're going to have to fight your way out of that room with all those companions, and you can't afford to lose one of them. So it's a tough mission. You got to get there quick, save those people, and get out of there.
That's cool. I haven't even looked at this one. These are really cool looking. And is it?
Yeah, I'm tempted.
This is a solid mission. This one's really good. I would agree with James. I think 10 is hard, but this one's exceptionally difficult.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Ryan, going over to 10, I just wanted to point out, to me, the biggest difficulty of this mission is if you notice the 2 faithful are right next to a spawn point. Remember, faithful count as survivors, so you get the wrong spawn there and you haven't gone to protect them or get them, then something's going after them and killing them, and you're losing the mission. So you got to be on your toes and have the correct tactics. This one to me is really about tactics. I lost this mission several times before we kind of figured out the formula. And even once we figured out the formula, you still have to have everything go right for you to win this one. So again, I really think the difficulty in this system is more about the missions, and they're really good missions. I like them. And I like the fact that they're really trying to do something with the companions. If you're going to do companions, then make them mean something. It's cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's speaking of the companions, I think that's one thing. I don't mind the companions and moving the extra characters on the board, but I know whether it's Marvel Zombies or sometimes I hear people gripe about they don't like to They don't like to move characters around the board that they're not actively playing and stuff. If you don't like that, that is one thing I would say you probably might not like this game as much, because there is a lot of companions in the missions that you're rallying and bringing around. They give you, they give you their class ability and stuff, which is great. But if you don't like that aspect of the game, there is a lot of it in this one.
Yeah, I was bothered by, like, I kind of tend to be like, this one has companions, maybe not this game, when I was like second edition. But yeah, in Undead or Alive, I've learned that they aren't as much of an annoyance. Maybe it's just something about how the classes shake things up, or how the missions are designed, or a combination of things. Yeah.
You feel like you need them.
Yeah. And I really appreciate how, like, I feel like in previous Zombicides, I don't know if this is all of them, because I don't think I've ever played any Zombicide game back to front, like mission 1 through 10 ever. I don't think I've played, at least not that I've been able to take note of. I wish I could, but anyway, I don't know if they all do this, but the fact that this one's like, it actually goes from easy to medium to hard to very hard.
Mm-hmm.
And progression, like, I feel like the other ones are kind of just haphazardly, like, this one's easy and that one's hard and that one's medium and this one's hard. And that one's
I'm not
medium,
actually
easy.
sure what the order is. I think maybe in like first edition, it kind of vaguely tells a story in order, but I don't know difficulty wise. I'm pretty sure you're right. I don't think they normally do that.
Yeah, it wasn't like a progressive thing before.
To me, this is just logical. That you're learning the game as you go for each mission, and it's funny, Ryan. When I hear you talk about playing, like in my mind, like everybody just starts with mission 1 and then plays through them all. Like I don't understand like jumping around.
Yeah.
So it's funny for me because I'm just thinking, okay, well, you want to play all your easy ones so you can learn the rules, and then because it's building right to teach you, and then you move on. Which is kind of what they used to do with, like, your first mission didn't have a car, right? But then maybe your next mission has a car because it's added on to the rules as you go.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I haven't like had like a dedicated enough play group that I could just go like, this time we're doing mission 1, next time we're doing mission 2, next time we're doing mission 3. It's just, usually it's like, I finally have somebody over to play a board game with me. Which one should we play? Oh, we only have this much time. I guess we're going to play the smaller one. I was like, okay, what looks like a fun smaller one? That's why I would kind of randomly go out of order. And the fact that they didn't seem like, I get Schmedley, you were saying like there was some kind of a story-ish that they were like seem progressive. But the difficulty was never progressive.
Yeah.
At least I don't think so. Was it like is?
No, it's like you said, Ryan. It was all over the place. Is up and down.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just too stupid to remember what I played if I don't do it in order. If I jumped around, I wouldn't remember which ones I played and which ones I didn't.
That's my problem. Yep. I don't know. I don't know if I've played every mission in any game yet because I haven't done them in order.
I mostly do them in order. I don't sit down and play all of them the way James does.
That'd be a wasted piece of paper, though, if you didn't play it, though. It's like it's there. You paid for it. Use it.
We'll do it eventually. I think the only book I've gone all the way through is Invader.
Nice.
Maybe first edition.
Not Darkside?
Not Darkside. We're working through Darkside now. We've done about half of it.
What about Black Ops? You haven't done that, all that?
No Black Ops. We haven't touched the Black Ops or the Operation Persephone.
James has only played Operation Persephone 5 times. It's fine.
Yeah. Man.
So
go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, for Undead or Alive, thoughts on the mission variety and replayability?
Well, no, I like all of them. Even the first mission. Like, I understand a lot of people are like, oh, the first mission is kind of the boring one. But the first mission's really fun, having to get all the different bounty weapons and have the timer of the train.
Yeah.
It's super fun. And while it does offer its challenges to teaching new players as that being the first mission, it's still, you get that sense of, oh crap, this game is going to end. We can't just sit here all day. So, it's really fun.
Yeah, I would agree. And the variety between the missions is there. And even if you've kind of got the formula figured out, there's enough variability between the cards and the draw that even if you got a rock solid, plan coming in, sometimes it just falls apart. So, a couple of these missions I've played multiple times, and it's always different. And it's not, it's even if you've got everything going your way, it's not always a guaranteed victory. So I think there's a lot of replayability here.
Yeah, so you got your screen on mission 2, Zombie Train, and that's one of the ones that's like, why is that wagon there?
Yeah.
What's the point?
It's literally just sitting there with no point.
Yeah.
You're saying, right?
Huh. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to use it to do anything.
It's like maybe
it doesn't benefit you. I mean, I guess if you're really bored, you could
walk for atmosphere.
Spend all your actions moving it just for fun. But
yeah, I've only played 3 of the missions. Mission 8, then 1, then 4, then 8, which is probably triggering James's something or anybody. But yeah, I'm really excited to, like, as I look at these more and more, I'm more excited to play them all because I love the variety in these. Like I was kind of complaining or just noting that like the tiles are kind of samey because of, I think that's the setting. Like I don't have a solution for that. However, they've done so much with the layouts, like, or the missions here, with the mechanics of the missions, the train getting thrown in there and or the tracks. It's really cool. Like you're blowing up the zombie train here. That is so cool. There's sometimes it's just, there's no train, or sometimes the train is like it's not in the middle of the board. It's on the edge of the board. Sometimes there's no train at all. It's just like a big long, what would you call it? Like a galley? Like a long, 2x4 layout. Was there one you were blowing up the mine shaft too? Yeah. Blowing up the mine.
Yep. I think that's 9. No, is it 9? It's one of them.
That one right there. That's the one you're blowing up.
Oh yeah.
6.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool concepts in here that I'm so excited to check out. And I didn't even notice that there were like marked very hard missions until you started mentioning that earlier too. So I'm like, ooh, very hard also. That's great. So yeah, I'm really excited by the variety and replayability here with all these different things. And it does feel like they put a lot more love and care into it. Sometimes the train
I'm
is
excited to play more.
Yeah, sometimes the train is going to roll up and sometimes it's already there. And that's cool too.
And you can really see why, they have the 14 survivors, because they really rely on the, companion component in their missions. There's very few missions that don't include companions that you got to go save. So
yeah,
it's cool that even though you're not playing with all your miniatures as characters, you're still getting to play with all your miniatures, which I think is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, this one has 6 companions that you start with. It's crazy. Yeah, just something about the companions being classes like matters for to me. Like if it's just arbitrarily just put 2, 4 whatever survivors on the board and those are your companions now, like whatever, like, but it's like, no, these are the only faithful ones. Like the only way we can use faithful abilities is by going and saving those guys. Matters more. Just a little bit of an extra nudge for it to matter to me. What do you think of the pacing and tempo of this version of Zombicide?
I think overall it's pretty good. Like I said, I think this is, up until White Death, which I've only played a little bit of. This was the most recent kind of main series where all the Zombicide games get a little more wacky with it. But as far as like the core mechanics, this is the most streamlined we've seen them. And I think it works out pretty well.
Yeah, I think the pacing's good. Like a lot of Zombicide, at Blue, you're on edge. You don't know what's going on. Yellow, you think everything's bad, but hopefully at that point, you're geared up. And then at orange, who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, I like the pacing of it. While I did make the comment that it kind of slows you down having to deal with corpse, piles. If with the right loadout of characters, whether it's townsfolk searching or having a faithful that can also use water, it gets to be pretty quick. Things start to move along at a good pace. And some of these missions have built-in timers, which is great. They're not just, play until you die or play until you win. You got to play until something happens. Otherwise, you're going to lose. So, yeah, I really like it.
Yep, I would agree. I think the difficulty ramps up, very thematically, in that, as you're saying, James, by the time you get to orange, and if you haven't equipped up properly, you're probably in trouble, because you're going to be running out of zombies. You got an abomination on the board chasing you down, and thematically and just gameplays wise, it just feels very natural how it progresses with its difficulty. So it's I think it's paced really well.
Yeah, I definitely have no complaints for the pacing and the tempo of this one. I haven't previous Zombicides, like primarily I think of like Black Plague, where you have the what is it even called? When you have like you're supposed to spawn on the next spawn zone.
Oh yeah, the double spawn.
Yeah, double spawns. Like this doesn't have anything like that in there to me, I think. I mean, there is like the learning curve of all of the different aspects, but maybe if you're not thrown in the deep end, well, no, I think even if you're not, like there's a lot to learn and go back and look at the rule book for. And like that's just the learning curve of starting a new game. So outside of that though, I can't think of anything. Like I think that the tempo of it works really well. Of how everything ramps up in intensity and difficulty with everything coming at you, and there aren't any mechanics that seem to trip you up. Like maybe the train a little bit, because it's like, wait, how does that work? Like, where do you flip it and pull this one out of the front and then put it towards the back and all that? But it's really not that big of a deal.
Well, should we get on to the rules that we might have missed?
Yes, let's do it.
I was looking at it. It seems like we've mostly covered it.
Yeah, do you want to just rattle down the list and rapid fire in case somebody's like maybe was spacing out in other parts, like rules you might have missed? Okay, I'm here, I'm listening to it.
So the number one that I see is when using water as holy water, do you still get the 5 AP? And you do, is the answer. Yes, you do. Faithful that use water as holy water still get the 5 AP.
I'm glad for that, because as written on the card, it does not seem that way. So I'm glad you found that. You found that in the rule book, right? Where it was stated clearly?
Yeah. It's in a couple of different spots.
Yeah.
And then
I think that's intuitive, but I can see how that can be confusing.
Yeah, well, and when things just aren't written out, us gamers want them written out. Like
yeah.
And then the train moves mobile spawn points when entering the board. That's one I was definitely guilty of. I missed out on that one. It's clearly stated in the rule book, but again, I missed it.
A lot of words in there.
The +1 free reload is not the same as free reload. So for you people used to playing in second edition, the +1 free reload is just literally once per turn you get a free reload. Same thing, +1 free charge is still limited to 1 charge per turn. And then corpse piles are activated per tile, not per building.
That's a big one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. The first 2 times I played through all the missions, I read the rule and I knew it and I played it. And then for some reason on my third playthrough, we entered in one of those buildings where there was 2 corpse piles. And I was like, oh crap, we've been playing this wrong. We're supposed to be spawning in this one over there. And so we did and played it out. And then I went back in the rules and I was like, oh crap, we were right the first time. So yeah, just remember, even if you're playing it right, don't play it wrong. And then, as you said, Ryan, once the 7th spawn point becomes active, you do lose the game, a la Black Plague. And I don't know if you guys had any else that are off the cuff for you, or
I had a couple that just jumped to mind. So the train engine, when it's on the board, enters the board, it does cause a boom. So, and then holy water can can be used from the backpack and doesn't require an action. Like the dynamite, when you throw that, you need to use a ranged action. But when dispensing holy water, it does not take an action, which knowing that can be very beneficial. And then companions, and I think this is just one of those things, like if you played other Zombicide games, you start to read into the rules. So companions only give the class ability. You don't get their blue skill as well. It's just a class ability. And then with the when you get the brawler, you don't get the additional health. You just get the charge.
Yeah, I think that's a really important distinction, Jason, about not getting the blue skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty unique.
Yeah, because we're used to previous versions of Zombicide, you get the blue skill. It's like, yeah, makes sense. Someone gets tripped up by that.
And Schmedley, I think that might be why they prioritize putting the class rules on the back of the card as opposed to the skill rules for the blue one.
I was just thinking that too, yeah.
Not that they couldn't have fit it on there, but I think that's why they were more concerned with getting those rules on there.
That's good.
I totally understand. That's why I said, even if you don't want to put like the orange and red ones, I feel like just getting the blue one on there for reference could be good.
Did you have any others, Jason?
Nope, that was it.
Ryan, did you have any others?
We've already talked about it, and maybe it's obvious if you've read the rules, but I would say, well, just in general, like really read Zombicide veterans really do read the whole rule book, like every word of it. Cause yeah, there's been stuff that I missed, that we've talked about here, like the special mine tile and, cemetery tile. Like I didn't read any of that. I just completely skipped right over it. For whatever reason, I thought it was more line of sight diagram, I guess. But yeah, as read that page, because there's important things. Those things are considered streets, and you can't search them and all of that kind of stuff. So that's important.
Yeah, I think if you're a veteran Zombicide player, there's a little more downside here in that, don't assume. Definitely read the rule books. You're probably gonna short yourself on quite a few of the rules.
Yeah, they definitely do get you with fine print sometimes.
Yeah,
100% agree.
Or embarrassing, it's not fine print. Like James pointed out about the corpse piles. It was there in black and white. I just didn't read it.
Yeah.
Right. There is an ultra red mode in the back of the book, although I have not reached red with anybody ever. Have you guys?
I don't know. I reached red so rarely, like across the franchise. So I don't know. I don't know who's really pining for ultra red. It seems to be popular though.
I've definitely reached red before, but ultra red, no.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Is the idea that they have rules for reaching red a fourth time.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Wow.
Like at that point, you can pick any skill you want. It's like, I guess you earned it.
Yeah. You stuck around that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have ascended. Come visit our office now and design your next game by reaching red the fourth time. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. We've talked ideal player count on all the other versions of Zombicide to death. I don't know that we need to talk about that here.
Still 3 is the magic number.
I still think 3, yeah.
Yep, 3 with 2 or 2 with 3.
Or 1 is the loneliest number.
1 is the loneliest, but hey, it's better than nothing, right?
It is. It's a good time.
Although I will say, I do enjoy playing with sometimes more, like I've played with 6 and 7 people, and it can be fun. You got to tweak the game to make sure you get the right amount of spawn zones. It can be fun. It's got to be the right group. If they're engaged and they move along, if you get a lot of table chatter and then it's not fun. But I know a lot of people are not down with large groups in Zombicide. It can be done and it can be fun, but it's got to be the right group, and you got to tweak the game.
Yeah, I wonder. Just real quick to that point, Jason. I do play a lot of different cooperative games, and I can't say I've come across too many that I think 6 would be better than Zombicide. Like most of them are slower. So like if 6 doesn't work for Zombicide, I don't know what game 6 does work for as far as cooperative games go.
Yeah.
All right. What are, for those that have played the expansions? I have not played any expansions. What would you say
Yeah,
are the essential expansions or products
Well,
or materials
I'll
for
I'll
this
jump
thing?
in there because I've played a lot of it. So from the retail side, if retail is what you got access to, there's only really gears and guns and running wild. So between the two, the gears and guns is going to be your best bet because you get the missions, you get the steam, the steam dice mechanic and new characters and the steampunk aspects in. So there's a lot more added to it than the running wild. Although I think the running wild's pretty cool. Um, Kickstarter exclusive, there's a lot there. I think your best value is probably money wise, if you're grabbing the stuff off of eBay or wherever, is dead stock. You get 4 additional abominations, followed by the long dead walkers, which add kind of an additional. Still staying on the cheap side, maybe sticking with maybe your more abominations with the Abominate Ape Crocosaur. They're very fun, huge minis to have on the board. But if you just want to get a lot of minis, you probably pay a little bit for it. But the Dead West box is nice. You get 51 survivors, 15 walkers, 13 abominations, only 1 equipment card. But it's really good. After that, you're more of turning into a completionist, and you're just going to get it all anyways. But they have the special guest box and the steampunk extras. But I would say starting off, just getting those extra abominations and extra walkers on the board is a cheaper way to get more minis on the table.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I pretty much agree with you, Jason. Even though you only get 1 abomination at a time, I still think that, what is it called, the dead stock?
Yeah.
The box of 4 different abominations. That's probably should be your second purchase.
Yep.
After the core box set, because all those abominations are wacky.
They're huge too, and they're fun to paint.
Yeah, they're great looking minis, like everything. The only thing I can say negative about the gorilla and the crocosaur is they're just such large miniatures. They're ridiculous on the board. Other than that, they're awesome. And I honestly think that the crocosaur might be the second, if not the most dangerous abomination you can have on the board.
Yep.
So he's almost worth the price of admission just for that.
Yeah.
The long dead walkers, I'm on the fence about. Only because I just don't think their danger is there for what people think their danger is there for. And if money is tight, I think those are easy to proxy, from some other source.
What are the
I
rules
didn't-
on the long dead walkers?
The berserkers.
Melee only.
Yeah, they're just berserkers. That's all they
Got
are.
it.
I'm a big fan of berserkers in pretty much every incarnation, so that would probably be my recommendation. I didn't know they were Kickstarter only though.
Yeah, I would say, are the dead stock abominations? That's Kickstarter only.
Yeah, they're Kickstarter only too, and that's disappointing because so much of this is Kickstarter only. Really, the only thing that's retail is Running Wild and Gears and Guns. Everything else is Kickstarter.
I did not realize that. I would have to say, unless you're a completionist and you're looking at what can I skip over, the special guest box, the miniatures are awesome, the artwork's awesome, but there's not a great mix of characters there. A lot of the models kind of look alike, and there are almost all gunslingers. There's very few brawlers, there's very few townsfolk, and there's no faithful at all. So it's kind of a boring box from a class skill set. But if you're just going off of miniatures, they're pretty miniatures. So yeah, I would definitely say dead stock walkers, number 1 should be your second purchase. Or dead stock, the abomination. Sorry, dead stock abominations.
Cool. So I think that have we gone over like strategic tips and tricks for Zombicide Undead or Alive?
I think it's mostly been sprinkled in.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it a bunch when talking about mechanics, like how to deal with corpse piles and stuff.
Yeah, I got a couple of specific things I'd like to point out. One, your faithful should never be picking up objectives, because they're always going to be getting 5 points for turning off spawn points and whatnot. So they're going to jump up in points really quick doing that. And then Carl should never be picking up objectives because he's going to be killing so many abominations. he's going to be getting 5 points at a clip.
Yeah.
So you really need your townsfolk who are going to be spending most of their time just searching and not killing anything. They need to be picking up your objectives just so they can keep up in points. That would, like any game of Zombicide, point management is part of the strategy. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you definitely want to level up together strategically. This is a game where you can very quickly, easily have somebody, by picking up objective or downing a corpse pile, suddenly they're in orange and everybody else. You still have some people in blue and yellow, and that can cause a lot of problems as far as dealing with the zombies. So leveling up together, I think, is real important in this version for sure.
Yeah, I like to, and I've started to get into the swing of like, I think what I need to do first is take care of those corpse piles like right away. Kind of prioritize that, and then focus on like moving. If I'm going to be moving any mobile spawn points, then maybe that's the second priority before things start to get too out of hand or I'm spreading myself too thin. Those kind of feel like starting game strategies that are starting to work for me as I'm still learning my way through the game. Yeah, like, I don't know. I can't say like if there's a recipe for like when to really utilize balconies, but every once in a while you might find like, oh, this is a great time to hop on that balcony and go to town. And then when to get
that
out.
really long board, Ryan, that one that's
Yeah.
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 That's a good one for balconies.
Yeah. But yeah, I love, just like I did with Black Plague was one of my favorite aspects of it, of being able to shape the way the game is played, by being able to move those spawn points and do a little bit of tower defense in that way. I thought that's really cool about this one.
Well, and just one little point to that too. Unless a mission is telling you that you have to move the spawn points, which some of them do,
Mhm.
and unless a train is moving them for you, which there are some missions, there's not a lot of missions where you actually want to move those mobile spawn points, because the disadvantage is when you're moving that mobile spawn point to the first starting spawn point, you're just now doubling the chances you're going to pull an abomination before you get around to past the abomination spawn point, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
So you don't really want them in that first spawn point. That's actually a detriment, unless there's like a situation where you're trying to get to an exit and the only thing that's beside you is a spawn point. Then maybe you want to move that one. But otherwise, it's more of a detriment to move those than it is an advantage.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point. Okay. So who is this version of Zombicide for and not for?
I don't know if I have a very unique answer here. I think, like I said earlier, I think this is probably the most streamlined that we've seen the core Zombicide rules. So I'll say fans of Zombicide. If you played another one, you'll probably end up liking this one. I would say it's not for people who aren't huge on Westerns, but I mean, that's me. And the more I play it, the more I like it. So I don't even know if I could say that.
Yeah, I can't get too far off what you're saying there, Schmedley. I think theme has got to be the number one thing that draws you to this, because there's so many other versions of Zombicide. So if you're picking this one, it's kind of got to be about theme. But once you get past that, the changes that are made to this game are fun.
Yeah.
They're fun new changes, new rules to learn. Yes, this is Zombicide, but there's still enough there to where you don't feel like you're just playing the same old version of Zombicide. So yeah, who it's not for. Yeah, I mean, if you don't like Westerns so much, there's plenty of other Zombicides to play. So if you just really hate Westerns, then this is probably not for you.
Yeah, I would say if you really hate the theme and you're a big Zombicide fan and you're not going to buy it, at least find a friend that has it, or I think you'd be doing yourself a disfavor if you don't try this out with the different mechanics. I think as long as you're a Zombicide fan, I think you're going to get a kick out of the game. And then obviously if you like the theme, I think it's a no-brainer. I do think though that for a brand new player, if this ends up being your first Zombicide game, great, but it's going to be one of the tougher ones because you're learning everything. Like all the, if you're an experienced Zombicide player, you kind of walk in kind of knowing some stuff, do's and don'ts, and you kind of add into that with the new mechanics. But if you're brand new walking in, there's a lot to learn, and you might be losing way more than your average Zombicide player coming in. But if you love the theme, I think you're still going to have fun.
Yeah, I think this version is for, I think it's mostly for like veteran Zombicide players who want something with a bit more meat on its bone. I think this has the most meat on the bone of any Zombicide game. Like, yes, it's streamlined, but yes, there are also a lot more rules and nuance in the rules, like nuance in gameplay, in strategy, in tactics, in the mission variety. And just that many more rules to have to take on and tackle. So kind of like what Jason was saying, like what we've all been saying, that there's more to this. And it might be a little bit more of a learning curve, but for people who have played other Zombicides and are a little tired, or maybe or just want something new or want something more, this might be it. And also I think this is for people who like a harder game, a more challenging game. This is definitely one of the harder ones, if not the hardest one. Maybe I'm not totally sure yet. And then is it not? I mean, not for you, obviously, as everybody said. If you don't like Western, then you're probably not even paying attention. But and like if you want a more casual game, if you want more of a beer and pretzel, if you want an easier game, I think this is not for you. I think grab second edition. You just want to have a good time with your friends in a general zombie setting. Second edition is great. It also, if you want to be able to like really collect everything for it and you want to be a completionist about it, but you don't have to pay the Kickstarter prices because there's really kind of not that much product here, at least currently in this setting, then this isn't great for that. If you want to like really dive in and collect a lot of stuff, then go to second edition or the fantasy setting. Yeah, that's kind of what I think of who it's for and not for. I think it's all of it. Schmedley, what's your favorite and least favorite thing about this version of Zombicide?
So my favorite thing would probably be the class system. I do think it's a really cool mechanic the few times it showed up, and it's definitely the most fleshed out here. My least favorite might really be the weapon deck variety. I don't even think it's a huge problem. There's nothing in the deck that it's like exciting when I pull it. Like, yeah, I got the Remington.
Yeah, for me, my favorite part probably is the class system. It really, to me, makes you want to have way more survivors, way more choices, way more miniatures. And I think that's a really cool part of this game. I really do like that. And this is such a minor least favorite of the game. Shows you how much I do like this game. My favorite part of this game is just the ambiguity of those two tiles that I mentioned, the cemetery and the mine. And that's not even that big a deal and doesn't come up that often. That's how much I like this version of the game. I think it's really great. That's probably the biggest nitpick I can make. If they had just added another sentence or two of the rules or answered it in an FAQ, would have taken care of it for me. Otherwise, I think this is a solid game.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's class system for the win for me too. I think it's I think when I first played the game and looked at it, and class system, okay, we've done this before. But I think once you really start playing around with it and seeing what it does, it adds quite a bit to the game. So definitely like the class system. I struggle too trying to think about what I really dislike. Not much I can really think about, honestly, off the top of my head.
Put me down for class system also. It's not mind-blowing. It's not like Massive Darkness level class system, or anything super intensely innovative or incredible. It's just really good. It's like it's a major improvement on like the small moves made toward that way in previous Zombicide entries. And it just provides that much more variety to your games, I think, and the way they use them and the companions and all that we talked about. And then my least favorite is the noise bang boom boom bang token. It's like I just don't want to use it at all at this point. It's just a little bit too tedious, a little bit too much work, too much cognitive load for little or more likely no return.
Not enough boom for your buck.
Hey, nice. If you like Zombicide Undead or Alive, you might also like.
I mean, I don't have much for this one. I guess I'll bring up Cthulhu Death May Die. It's just because this is kind of a similar historical era, at least compared to any other Zombicide version, where I'd call it more Victorian. Well, that's not true. There's like gangsters and stuff. I don't know. I don't know history, but it's it's just another CMON game where that has similar mechanics. I'd call it it's similar in complexity. I think the moment-to-moment gameplay is simpler, but the overall rules are more complex than Zombicide.
And they're both in that kind of higher tier of difficulty, I might say. Like Cthulhu Death May Die is more difficult, in my opinion.
Definitely harder than Zombicide.
Yeah.
On average.
So for me, if you like this game, then it's little brother that came after Army of the Dead. You should definitely go grab that because it uses some of the same concepts, builds on those, along with taking pretty much all the best things from every other version of Zombicide and distilling it into one box. So if you like the streamlined nature of this game and some of the mechanics of this game, then Army of the Dead would definitely be a good one. But outside of the CMON lane, this is not a cooperative game. This is a competitive game. But Dracula's America is a skirmish level miniature game. It's pretty fun. It's based off of around Civil War times. Wonder if Dracula, became president of the United States and took over. And, so it's still the 1880s, 1890s. And so you have this fun mix of supernatural and normal people running around. So it's a nice mix of that horror and Western mashup. So if it just based on theme, that might be something that you want to check out.
For myself, I think from a cooperative nature of thinking about this, I mean, obviously Cthulhu, Massive Darkness, but other cooperative games I've played that I enjoy a lot that kind of remind me of this a little bit is Hero Quest and Conan from Monolith. Both those games, you have to have somebody's got to be kind of the DM. Although Hero Quest, you can use an app to kind of be the DM so everybody can play together. But Conan from Monolith, very much, there's some action economy and you're all playing, a single mission working towards a goal. A lot of fun. So reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah, my vote for, if you like Undead or Alive, you might like is Shadows of Brimstone. It's this big, huge kind of hulking game system at this point where there's like two large, what they used to call like coffin boxes, like super long, big boxes that were the first core sets of this game. So it's like a Wild West. It's like a Weird West kind of a thing where you're playing as, like, I'm looking at the thing, like different Western hero archetypes, such as the lawman, the gunslinger, saloon girl, and there's like so many more. And you have a character sheet that you actually write in pencil, like what your stats are as you go through a campaign. You have class specific upgrade trees and new skills and abilities. You could get a Frontier Towns expansion that you can go towning. But really the thing that makes this game unique and cool and weird is that you're basically like dungeon crawling through mines for Darkstone treasure, but the Darkstone treasure also opens up portals to other worlds. And like, depending on which core boxes or expansions you have, those could be, other worlds could be like the Caverns of Cinder, or the Blasted Wastes, or I'll let you insert like what you think these things even mean, right? Like the Forest of the Dead, Tradera, an alien war-torn futuristic sci-fi dark stone corrupted world. I'll describe that one. A derelict spaceship. Like there's like jungles, and there's the ancient city of Targa. It's just all kinds of crazy stuff in this game. It's just so wild. But it's very much a campaign game. It's not a one-off at all like Zombicide is. But if you're looking something that's a little bit more rich, a little bit more to it in that way, and that's kind of got similar vibes, and then it's like Wild West with a bunch of weird stuff going on, then I'd say check out Shadows of Brimstone.
Cool.
It's one of our favorites around here that we never play.
I feel that, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on Zombicide Undead or Alive core game?
I like it.
Yeah, great game. Go get it.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a great game.
I think that they've done a great job, like both streamlining and adding a lot more to this one. And I wish there were more products for it. So hopefully we get that one day.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw somebody, they were like, man, they really missed out. They could have done like buzzards and they could have done coyotes. I'm like, oh man. I was like, those are all really great ideas.
Right. Yeah. I never would have thought of that. 3D trains. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed our review of Zombicide Undead or Alive, the core game. Next episode, we'll be reviewing the Zombicide Undead or Alive Kickstarter. Okay, and our book club mission for next episode will be E8, the web mission, Bring Out Your Dead. So for those at home following along, that's what we'll be playing and talking about for next time. You can get that on zombicide.com. You could download it there, hopefully still by the time you listen to this. Okay. Thanks again, Jason, so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
And that splashes our holy water on this corpse pile of an episode. Thanks so much for listening or watching. Good night, everybody.
Stay nice out there.
Happy gaming.
Jason, you get to say bye in some way.
Oh, sorry about that. Goodbye, everybody. It is late.
You gotta add that. You gotta not cut that at all.
Okay. Cool. Thanks again for listening to the Zombicide Fans podcast. Zombicide Fans is an unofficial podcast and is not affiliated with or endorsed by Asmodee, Guillotine Games, or Fantasy Flight Games. Thank you from your hosts, Ryan Messick, Schmedley Mayers, and James Fisher. Thanks to our special guest, Jason Triganowan, plus our sponsor, BoardGameGoodies.shop, where listeners can save 10% with coupon code PODCAST. You can check out the show on all major podcast listening platforms and on YouTube. You can reach us at zombicidefans@gmail.com. The podcast is hosted at zombicidefans.com. And you can join our communities at the Zombicide Discord and the All Zombicide Games Facebook group. All links will be in the show notes. Until next time, survive.